Some quarterbacks underperformed last year, and a few tight ends didn't quite give us the season we were expecting. Ryan Heath and Derek Brown have some issues and some comments about some of those seasons and what they think about those players for 2024. Should we draft or pass these guys? Do they deserve a second chance? Let's hear from the boys. Let's talk about the quarterback and tight end positions. I'm going to go throw a couple quarterbacks at you guys, and I want to talk about whether you're willing to give them a second chance based on some of the disappointments of last year, or maybe even 2 years. I want to start with Joe Burrow on this list. QB 7 overall. That's a much higher degree. They have to go ahead and buy in on 57 ADP overall. Then you have Trevor Lawrence, QB 15, 102 ADP overall. Obviously a disappointing season last year. A lot of people had high expectations. Calvin Ridley came in. Things just did not work last year after an encouraging 2022. 2023 was a letdown. And then Deshaun Watson, who has been a letdown for years now, that maybe we're past second chances, third chances, but I still see him going in Superflex leagues around QB 20, and we're at 131 ADP overall. Ryan, Burrow, Lawrence, Watson, all different values in terms of where they are on the board. Who deserves the second chance in terms of their value in ADP right now, in your opinion, the most?
Yeah, I mean, the only one of these three I'm excited to draft at ADP right now is Joe Burrow. So last year, his first 4 games of the season, he barely played under center at all. He had that really bad calf strain. Brian Callahan is on record talking about how much it really limited their offense. So if we throw out those first 4 games and we throw out his final game of the year where he left early with the wrist injury, then we are left with, over his last 25 games, him averaging 23.3 fantasy points per game and at least 20 and a half fantasy points per game in each of his last 3 seasons, throwing out all those injury affected games. And just for perspective, the only other QBs that have hit that average over the past 3 seasons are Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. So there is genuine top 3 upside, top 3 quarterback upside with Joe Burrow. I don't understand why we feel any differently about him right now than we did this time last year when he was a consensus top 5 quarterback and being drafted that way. What exactly has changed other than we think and hope and assume that he's healthier? So yeah, I'm all in on Burrow. I think he's a really, really surprising injury discount that I am happy to take advantage of. I know there's like rumblings out there about his wrist like affecting his throwing motion for the rest of his life or whatever. I know there's been some.
Well, I cover baseball, and I heard a lot of noise about Aaron Judge getting work on his toe every single day and all that stuff. Well, he's got 30 home runs right now, and it's not even July 4th, so I think he's doing okay. Look, this is about being a professional athlete at the end of the day. The Burrow discount, Derek, I can only assume is also based upon, this isn't the first rodeo with this, right? He's missed, OTAs before. He has missed significant time in preseason before. There's been some injuries and some issues with Joe Burrow throughout his career. Some of them unlucky, but regardless, it is what it is, as the kids like to say. Now, when you're looking at these 3 quarterbacks, Lawrence, Watson, and Joe Burrow, again, 3 different quarterbacks at different costs. One of the, QB1 clear range in the top 10, one on that fringe, and then one that's a super flex quarterback that people seem to still be giving a lot of credence to. And I struggle with it. Where are you at with these 3 guys? Who is worthy of a second chance?
I'm all in on Burrow for all the reasons Heath stated. The volume is going to definitively be there. When he was healthy, they were 3rd in neutral passing rate. I think that this is wheels up. I think we get a Burrow close to maybe career season. I am not in on Zach Moss. I am not in on Chase Brown. I think they air the freaking ball out and Burrow just crushes. So I love Heath's love for Burrow. Trevor Lawrence is a guy I really want to hammer here, is that they've done nothing but add pass weapons to this offense. If the offensive line can be better this year, I think we finally get the true unlocked season for Trevor Lawrence. He was QB 13 in fantasy points per game last year, QB 7 in expected fantasy points per game. And Jacksonville quietly showed their hand last year, weeks 11 through 18. We're talking about an offense that was 7th in neutral passing rate and 10th in red zone passing rate. So I think it's wheels up for T-Law. Plus, I mean, anybody that saw the timeline yesterday, he's going to have that dad energy walking into 2024.
That's right.
You'll love to see it, baby. So
that's the same dad energy that got you up at 8:30 to do this podcast today. Let me say.
That's true. It's true. That and
you were
a lot of caffeine.
Not
that
me.
and a lot of caffeine.
I had planned 3 shows already, went out for a walk, all this stuff. Derek just slogging here in the morning. Ryan Heath, by the way, also just bright and sunny in the morning. Let's do the tight ends here real quick. Travis Kelce, still tight end 2 overall. You could argue 1. The career numbers certainly argue number 1. 32 in ADP, which is really where I love Kelce. The fact that I'm getting him in the 3rd round sometimes, that is nice. Pat Freiermuth, another tight end 15, 124 overall ADP, a guy that people felt comfortable as a low-end tight end 1 last year, but obviously the Pittsburgh passing attack fell very, very short. Now, Russell Wilson's there, maybe Justin Fields is there, could be a little bit of a bounce back. These are 2 tight ends. Derek, are you giving Kelce a second chance to be the tight end 1 overall after some injuries last year? And he did have the 2-year extension, and he's still arguably the greatest fantasy tight end we've ever seen. And are you willing to, in some of those deeper leagues, look again at Pat Freiermuth based on the change of quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Speaking of old men out for the power walk that I'm going to join for laps around the neighborhood, that's Travis Kelce. I'm going to keep drafting him, man. I think that, looking at where he was last year, I'm not worried about it. I think that KC, their offense overall, can bounce back this year, so I'm going to keep drafting Kelce. Freiermuth's a pass for me. I don't know if Russell Wilson has seen the middle of the field in the last 10 to 15 years, and that's where Pat Freiermuth is going to live. Plus, we've already, again, talked about dancing with the devil. I've already gone down that rabbit hole, Joe. I've invested in Arthur Smith tight ends before. I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it.
Well, you invested them with bad quarterbacks. That is the chef's kiss of bad decisions. Ryan, Travis Kelce, still a high cost, but a little cheaper overall than we're used to. And then Freiermuth, maybe Russell Wilson doesn't know where the middle of the field is, but Justin Fields knows where the tight end is. You saw Cole Kmet have a pretty good season with him last year. So what are your thoughts on both of these guys? Are you giving them a second chance? Kelce to be, again, the top guy and getting a discount, say, yeah, I want to invest in him again. I don't think he's on the decline. I think it was a downhurt year. And Freiermuth, hey, look, last year was miserable for the Steelers offense in terms of passing. Can it just be incrementally better? And all of a sudden, Freiermuth maybe sneak into that back end of tight end 1.
Yeah, so I'll be quick, but I'm not in on either. So I just, with Kelce first, I just look at his splits with Rashee Rice on and off the field. This is, again, courtesy of Jacob Gibbs and his Fantasy Football Today newsletter. Awesome stuff. Would go subscribe to that. Kelce's yards per out run with Rice on the field dropped from 2nd to 14th, and his targets per out run from 1st to 14th among tight ends. So he was not this elite per out producer whenever there was actual target competition on the field last year. And now I'm imagining that with Rice back after his suspension, but also with Marquise Brown and with Xavier Worthy on the field, with other receivers that Pat Mahomes actually wants to throw to. I don't know. I think Kelce just continues to kind of fade a little bit. Even a couple weeks ago, he was quoted saying, like, as much as he wants to be out there on every single play, that he has to understand it's for the betterment of the team when he's not. And his route share was down to just 73% in active games last year. So that's why I'm kind of tepid on Kelce. I don't feel the need to draft him at his ADP. With Freiermuth, I really tried. I promise. I was looking up like play action splits. I was doing everything last night to try to talk myself into Pat Freiermuth.
It's okay, Heath. The answer can just be no.
It's okay. No, that's okay. It's I'm asking for the people. That's what I'm the voice of the people here. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry it came to this, but that's what I am.
Yeah, but look, without Deontay Johnson last year, I was expecting, okay, maybe we'll see some good splits here with Freiermuth. 6 fantasy points per game and 3 targets per game without Deontay Johnson last year. Like, we need way more than incrementally better for that to matter at all. Arthur Smith's Falcons averaged only 20 catchable targets per game over the past 2 seasons. That's second worst in the league. I don't see that changing very significantly in Pittsburgh, so I am passing on Freiermuth. I get it in Dynasty. You want to bet on the talent, even if the situation's not great this year. But for anything redraft this year, I am all set with Freiermuth.
All right, are you drafting or passing these guys? We want to know from you. Drop your comments below here on the YouTube channel. Who are you drafting or passing and giving second chances to this season after maybe a bad 2023? And if you like this video, stick around for more content here on the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Subscribe, ring that bell till it goes ding for notifications, and click on the box for the next video to get ready for all of your fantasy football drafts.